Hey guys, it's Zoe, and today I'm going to be doing a story time. I want to do more story times on my channel, except for I really do not have any stories. Like, besides the driving one that I'll put link down below, that was my first one I did. Like, and I have one that I'm with Kenna, like my friend Kenna, that we might film together this summer, but I think it's going on her channel because it's more like her story. So, like, I don't have stories. Besides, like, pointless, like nothing happened, like I'm so boring. But this happened on Saturday when I was at work, so I decided to like share it with you guys because why not? The story is not as cool as like it sounds, but it's okay. It's okay. So this is the story of catching someone shoplifting. And as you guys know, I work in retail. I work at the Avon store. And I've been working there since like August. So I'm in there on a Saturday, and the normal coworker who's there had off. So, and then my other coworker who works with me during the day left at 2:30 or something. So the owner's husband had to come in to fill the place of the other coworker, but he like sits in the back and then I leave at 6, so that's when he comes out and he closes when the store closes or whatever. So he's just sitting in the back, and it's just me in the store, and it's a Saturday, so it does get pretty busy, but at this time it wasn't that busy. And I'm behind the counter, and when someone comes in, we're supposed to greet them like, hello, and then you can even walk over to them and ask them if they need help finding anything, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So this lady walks in, and I'm like, hello, just from the counter, and she doesn't really say anything, so I'm like, okay, you know, and she's gonna go shop. And then this other lady walks in, and she has a actual basket, and she's like older, and so she's walking around like actually shopping. So then this lady, first of all, she was really rude to begin with. I don't know if she was in a bad mood or if she's just like that in general or what. But I'm super nice because, you know, you have to be nice to the customers no matter what. Like, oh yeah, I'm smiling, yeah. So anyways, and she was testing mascaras, and we have like obviously sample mascaras that say try me that you open. I personally don't recommend using them on your eyes because other people probably do, and like for lipsticks, people usually test them on their hand to see the color. Like foundations are fine to test, but she was wanting to test mascaras, and she goes, how am I supposed to test mascaras if there's no testers like to test it with? And I was like, oh, are you wanting a like disposable spoolie like mascara wand? And she was like, oh yeah, that'd be helpful. And we have like Q-tips, cotton balls, tissues, little cotton rounds, and little makeup sponges at the little tester setters, but we actually don't have any spoolies. I don't know why. But we have some at the front by the counter. So I just grabbed 3, and I was like eating a cookie at the time. So she was like, oh, you're eating lunch. And I'm like, no, I'm just eating a cookie, right? So I walk over to her, and I hand her the 3 spoolies, and she goes, thank you. So she was actually nice during that part. So I walk back over to the counter. Everything's fine as day, going about my normal routine. And since I've worked there, I've never actually experienced something like this. Like, maybe I've missed it before, but like this was actually crazy. So I'm just standing at the counter, and I'm like facing her, but at the same time I'm like angled toward the door, and she's over here, but I can still see her at the corner of my eye. And she like kind of turned away from me, and she was wearing a white puffer kind of vest thing. And she doesn't realize that I'm looking at her at this point because she saw me looking away, and her back is faced towards me, and she quickly, like the quickest I've ever seen someone, because obviously they need to do it quickly. We have mascaras obviously in like a box. Some of ours are just you buy it and it's plastic wrapped and you unwrap it, and some of them are in a box of mascara and you open the box and take it out. So we had boxes, and for one, I heard the sound of the box, and 2, I saw her quickly put it in her pocket of the puffer vest. Like quickly, like so fast. So like, I knew what happened, but I didn't actually get to see it go into her pocket, but I physically know what happened because I like watched her like put it, like it was in her hand, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. So I was like, what just happened? So it was like, and like when I was training or whatever, we're told that if you see or assume someone is stealing, not to confront them or go up to them and tell them, because sometimes people are crazy and you don't want to get like murdered or something, and it's kind of like offensive and rude to the customer if you're like, oh, you're stealing, like especially if they're not, like, because then it's offensive and you don't want to cause a scene to other customers or like anything. So my manager always told me, if you see someone, just go up to them and you like annoy them basically, and you basically let them know that you know that they're stealing without actually telling them, hey, I know you stole. Because you go, oh, can I help you find anything? Are you finding everything all right? Oh, you kind of just annoy them basically and follow them around the store, and they kind of get the hint, okay, they probably know. So I like already greeted her and she was kind of like rude and kind of like staring at me to see if I was like looking at her. I went to the back and I whispered to the owner's husband like what just happened. So he's like this huge dude, right? And I'm like this tiny girl like that can't do anything, so she's probably not like intimidated. So he comes out and I'm not even kidding you, has the most rude, disgusting look on her face, like they've known each other from past life. Like she looked at him almost like he murdered someone right in front of her, or like that he was the most evil person ever. And she's never seen him before in her life, but as soon as he walked out, she was like offended and disgusted with him. Like she just, yeah, like the look on her face was like I can't even, like she was crazy, okay, right? So anyway, she goes back to what she's doing, and she grabs an eyeshadow and starts putting it on, testing more products, and we still don't know if she put it back, what she stole, or if, we don't know, like, but whatever, like, it's not that big of a deal, it's a mascara. So she's testing more stuff, and every few, like, minutes, she'd turn around at us and glance again. Like she'd be facing away from us, just putting on eyeshadow, in the middle of putting on eyeshadow, and be like I'm not even kidding you. Like let me just like demo this. So I'm like the lady, right? And I'm like putting on my mascara. Like literally, and she would just sit there for like a long time. So she would mostly look at him, like, so then eventually she's in the middle of it, right? And she's like, why don't you find something to do? And she was talking to him, and he goes, I am, as in, oh, I'm standing here watching you. Like, she legit was like, why don't you find something to do? For one, she's a customer, so it's like, we can't really tell her she's not allowed to say that, but you don't say that to someone, especially if they're like the owner of the store. And I don't really know if she knew who he was or like what, but why don't you find something to do was like, I couldn't believe that came out of her mouth. So he just kept standing there, and then finally she's ready to check out, and like she's just still has the most disgusting look on her face towards him, and she comes over to me, and I'm about to ring her up, and we have a rewards program just through your first and last name. So every 100 you spend in the store, you'll get $10 off. And people who are regular customers spend all that all the time. It's just over time, and then they end up getting a $10 reward on anything off, like in the store. So she comes up to the counter, and I'm like, oh, what's your last name? Part of the normal routine of ringing someone up. And she goes, why? Like, why do you want my last name? Probably because, one, she was stealing, so she thought we were trying to get her information. And I was like, oh, and I told her about the rewards program, and she goes, no, I don't shop here anyway. I'm like, lady, you're shopping here right now, but okay. So I'm like, okay, so I like bypassed that, and then she buys one mascara, a different mascara than the one she stole, and then an eyeliner, because she's buying something to make it look like she's less guilty of stealing, because if you buy something, it doesn't look as like, oh, I just stole. So she gave me a $20 bill, and her total was like 11 something, and she gave me a $20 bill, and I gave her her cash back. And on the receipt, it tells you how much you saved in sales. And she saved $15 in sales. And I let her know that, because I'm like, everything is on sale. You know, there's no reason to steal. And she, like, grabbed her receipt. And she was like, thanks. And then as she was walking out, she stopped to give him another dirty look. And she like hurried out the door, and then like another customer was coming in, and she like shut the door on the lady that was coming in and like quickly hurried up to her car and like drove off. She was probably never going to come back. And she was like, I don't know, probably 35-ish. Like she wasn't that like old, and she looked normal. I mean, like, but it's just like me and the owner's husband were laughing afterwards because he was like, I have never, since I've worked retail in all these years, have seen someone be so guilty because she got so defensive because she knew she was caught, and that's why she was being so rude, because she knew she was caught. So like she was so defensive of it. And you know, like if you're gonna get caught stealing, you think you'd be extra nice or like play it off, but she literally was like, why don't you find something to do? Like, oh, I know I'm stealing, so what, you already know too, so why don't you just go do something so I can continue to steal? Or like, that's how it sounded. Like, why don't you stop watching me is basically what she was asking. And like, she stormed out because she was so mad. But like, why are you mad that we found because you got caught? Like, you can't be mad. Like, but like, some people just, you know, get a thrill out of like stealing stuff like that, and I don't know, maybe she's done it like a lot and then never got caught, so she finally actually got caught this time. But she did it right in front of the smile, you're on camera, with a giant mirrored camera in front of her. Like, she did it just like right in front of it, like no big deal, like I'm just gonna put this in my pocket. And and the store's empty, so it's like more obvious when there's no one else in the store and I see you put something in your pocket. So we didn't do anything, like we didn't call the police or anything. It's like not that big of a deal, but she also paid in cash and not her card, so of course can't get her information anyway. But I just wanted to just like share that story with you. We have loyal customers and people who aren't like that, but it's just crazy that like you experience that when you work and you see it happen. And the mascara is like, I don't know, on sale for $5 or something, and I'm like, really? Really? Like, yeah, so that's what happened to me on Saturday, and it was actually kind of funny after she left because we were just laughing at it, and he kept mocking her like, why don't you find something to do? Like, wow, I can't believe she said that. Like, no one's ever been so like guilty before. But that's just my story. Let me, like, tell me some stories in the comments below if you've had similar like situations. So far that's been the highlight and most interesting part of my week. So let's hope when I go back to work that people don't do that. Like, that was crazy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I'll link my other one down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.